Chris and Kelsey with SpraySmarter. Today Chris is going to do a short video on some flange fittings and clamps and walk you through the different types of them.
Okay, so we've had some calls about the flange fittings. They've been around for a while. They basically have taken the place of a threaded connection with a hose barb. Instead of threading it into a valve, you would clamp it to the valve with the manifold style gaskets and clamps. So first we'll talk about the different gaskets that are offered. So if you start here, the M221G, which is 221, is full port flanged, full port 2-inch. And if you can see that this one has little nibs on it, or whatever you would call those, bumps that hold the fitting, hold itself in place a lot better than what the original one was here. 200G would have been the original gasket, and sometimes they'll pop out when you're trying to put them together. So this was a pretty good idea. I prefer these, but we can still get the 200Gs. And then the 200GV is a Viton version of the G. So if you need the Viton, those are available as well. The ones down this side would be your standard port. So the standard port would be what we call an 1.5 inch opening, but a standard port 2-inch. And they come in the same thing as well. And then there's also some clamp options. So the basic flange clamp is an FC 200 or FC 220 for the full port. And then you can also get a T-bolt flange clamp, which was a FC 220 TB if you want to really torque, if you got a situation where you want to get more torque out of it. You're trying to seal a little more pressure possibly. And then they also got a band as well, which is for some high pressure if needed, which is an FC 220B. So those are your 3 style clamps, and then your 3 style gaskets. And then Hypro also has flange fittings, and they came out with a new, they said they've been around a while, but they got a plastic style clamp with a gasket with a ridge around the outside that will hold itself in place as well. And it kind of gives you a little seal around here too. So these work really good. And then as you can tell, you put that there like that, and you put the clamp on, and you get a really nice seal once you tighten that bolt up. So that's a really good seal. One thing that we do see, we've had calls where people have never used these, can't get them to seal very good. The important thing is with them is to make sure that you get the gasket in place, and this sits and lines up just like that. And as you can see, there's a beveled edge there, and as this clamp tightens, there's a beveled edge in there that will tighten it to that flange. But the problem is like, just like I'm having a struggle here, if you're in a tight spot, sometimes you won't get them totally lined up, and then you'll tighten them, and then when you go to put liquid through them, they're not really seated well. So you just need to make sure that that clamp is seated on there really good. So that would make a nice connection to go from your valve to a hose barb without threaded fittings. So one thing Kelsey's going to talk about here on the next video is we're going to talk about the difference between full port and standard port flange and threaded fittings. So that wraps up this video.